Welcome to Protagonist Pub. My name is Tammy, and this is where characters gather. So it is book haul time, and I'm looking at the books I purchased in October, and apparently that book buying ban didn't come to pass. I have a bunch of books I bought from the library. I have books from the big deal days in October from Amazon. So, without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to break it up by category. And so first up is nonfiction. That would be The Inklings by, who wrote this? Philip Zaliski and Carol Zaliski. It is it's called The Fellowship, The Literary Lives of the Inklings, who were J.R.R. Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, Owen Barfield, and Charles Williams. This is a nice big chunker of a book, especially for nonfiction. However, I noticed when I got the book that well over 100 pages of this book is the bibliography. Cannot tell you how appreciative I am that there are notes and the bibliography contained in this book. It is not an undocumented non-fiction book. The authors show their work, they show their sources. You'll see this again in 2024. So there is my sole nonfiction purchase. And next up will be the science fiction. And this is a little eclectic. So we're going to go in the order the books were written. And on my news feed a couple weeks ago, I had one of those, annoying sponsored stories, and this was for the top 50, top 100 science fiction books by whoever curated said list. I was curious. I flipped through it. There were a bunch of books in there I hadn't read. There were, books that sounded interesting. They're now on my wish list. But there were a couple I have picked up. So, the first one is the first science fiction book ever published, ever written. It was written in 1666 by Margaret Cavendish. And that is The Blazing World. It is not a big, thick book. It has illustrations in it. Not a lot. I say that and I've come across one. Like, here's a second one. So, they're not huge. They're not, they don't dominate the page. And so, I am very, very interested in this book. I'm not happy that page 10 is loose from the binding. Yeah, I'm going to have to send this book back and get a new one. Bloody. Okay, so I will get a new one, but I will read this. It says The Blazing World is a 1666 work of prose fiction by the English writer Margaret Cavendish, the Duchess of Newcastle. Feminist critic Dale Spender calls it forerunner of science fiction. It can also be read as a utopian work. It is not utopian. Page 10 is loose from the binding. It's more than page 10 too. Wow. Okay. Yep. Tammy needs to return that book and get a different copy. So, next up is a classic, but it's also science fiction, And I don't know if I read it in school. I know we didn't. I don't know if we read it in school. I don't remember reading it as an adult. And that would be Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This is the 1818 text. And I recently picked up an ebook. I will put the picture right here. Related to Frankenstein. And I think I know before I read the ebook, I need to read the text itself. So I've picked it up. And the last book was written in, I want to say 1983. Yeah. First published in July of 84, so it was undoubtedly written in 83. 83, 84, it doesn't matter. I was in high school. That is Neuromancer by William Gibson. And this is the first book in the series. Can't remember what the series is called. Is it in here? Of course they don't list the series name. Why would they do such a thing? I'll put the series name right here. And Dave is currently playing Cyberpunk 2077. This is the book that started it all. This is the book that drives cyberpunk as a subgenre of literature and science fiction, as a subgenre of gaming. So I want to read it. I'll read you the back. Case was the sharpest data thief in the Matrix until he crossed the wrong people and they crippled his nervous system, banishing him from cyberspace. Now a mysterious new employer has recruited him for a last chance run at an unthinkably powerful artificial intelligence. With a dead man riding shotgun and Molly, a mirror-eyed street samurai, to watch his back, Case is ready for the adventure that upped the ante on the entire genre of fiction. Neuromancer was the first fully realized glimpse of humankind's digital future, a shocking vision that has challenged our assumptions about technology and ourselves, reinvented the way we speak and think, and forever altered the landscape of our imagination. So, way back in the day, it won the Hugo, the Nebula, and the Philip K. Dick Awards. We'll see. So, next up is going to be the mystery thriller section. First book could also have gone under historical fiction, but it's the only historical secular fiction book I have. So I'm just going to toss it in here with the rest of the mysteries. That is Queen of the Valley by Lorena Hughes. This was a win off of Goodreads. I've read the back before. It is a novel set in Colombia. It has a beautiful cover. It sounds interesting. I will link the video down below, or the short where I talk about it. I'm very interested. I'm very, very interested. So the next two are library purchases. The first is The Will by Rebecca Reed. Never read anything by this author. I've never heard of this book. But I will read you the back. The Mordauns aren't like most families. For one, their family home is Roxborough Hall, a magnificent centuries-old mansion in the Norfolk countryside. For another, the house isn't passed down from parent to child, but rather to the family member deemed most worthy. Cecily Mordaunt is dead. On the evening of her funeral, her family will gather for a dinner, and each will be given a letter, revealing who is the next custodian of Roxbury Hall. The house is a burden, a millstone, a full-time job. But they all want it, and some are willing to do anything to get it. One family, 8 letters. Who will get what they deserve? I'm definitely interested. It's definitely something that sounds like it's up my alley. She has a couple of other books listed on the back. So if I like this, I will keep an eye out for her. This was published in last year. It was published last year. She has 2 other books published. Three other books published. Perfect Liars, Truth Hurts, and Two Wrongs. I like the fact that in the front cover there is a genealogy chart, which I imagine is going to come in handy. So I am looking forward to that. And it doesn't look like it's not going to be a very quick read, which I am thankful for. Next up is The Secret Keeper by Kate Morton. Couldn't pass this one up. It wasn't a mass market paperback. And I will read to the back. During a picnic at her family's farm in the English countryside, 16-year-old Laurel Nicholson witnesses a shocking crime. A crime that challenges everything she knows about her adored mother, Dorothy. Now, 50 years later, Laurel and her sisters are meeting at the farm to celebrate Dorothy's 90th birthday. Realizing that this is her last chance to discover the truth about that long ago day, Laurel searches for answers that can only be found in Dorothy's past. Clue by clue, she traces a secret history of 3 strangers from vastly different worlds thrown together in war-torn London. Dorothy, Vivian, and Jimmy, whose lives are forever entwined. A gripping story of deception and passion, The Secret Keeper will keep you enthralled to the last page. This is my 3rd Kate Morton book that's sitting on my shelf. I've gotten them all from the library, so combined I haven't spent a lot. So hopefully I like them all. They have very good reviews, all of them, so I'm not, overly concerned. So we shall see. And that does it for that section. All right, next up is going to be fantasy. So the first one is a library purchase. It has been on my radar for a while, but I haven't been in a grimdark mood, so I haven't picked it up. It showed up in the library bookshop, so I picked it up. It's a little beat up on the cover, but that's okay. It's the cover. I'm not overly concerned. That is The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. This is grimdark fantasy. This will not be for everyone. However, it is beloved. It is talked about everywhere. So I'm going to dip my toe in and see if I can, read it. So I will read you the back. Logan Ninefingers, infamous barbarian, has finally run out of luck. Caught in one fen too many, he's on the verge of becoming a dead barbarian, leaving nothing behind him but songs, dead friends, and a lot of happy enemies. Nobleman, dashing officer, and paragon of selfishness, Captain Jezal Dan Lothat has nothing more dangerous in mind than fleeing his friends at cards and dreaming of glory in the fencing circle. But war is brewing, and on the battlefields of the frozen north, they fight by altogether bloodier rules. Inquisitor Glokta, crippled turned torturer, would like nothing better than to see Jezal come home in a box. But then Glokta hates everyone, cutting treason out of the Union, one confession at a time, leaves little room for friendship. His latest trail of corpses may lead him right to the rotten heart of government if he can stay alive long enough to follow it. Enter the wizard Bayaz, a bald old man with a terrible temper and a pathetic assistant. He could be the first of the Magi. Wow, I have not had enough coffee. He could be a spectacular fraud, but whoever he is, he's about to make the lives of Logan, Jezal, and Glokta a whole lot more difficult. Murderous conspiracies rise to the surface, old scores are to be settled, and the line between hero and villain is sharp enough to draw blood. Unpredictable, compelling, wickedly funny, and packed with unforgettable characters, The Blade Itself is not a fantasy, is noir fantasy with a real cutting edge. And I've got to say that the back of this book is difficult to read. It is dark background with very light black print and not the best choice. Okay, so next up is the complete set of the Wheel of Time series. These are not mass market paperbacks, but at the same time, they are not trade paperbacks. So, here they are. This is the first book. It's The Eye of the World. And I really wish Tor would do a trade paperback version of this series. I don't know why they continue to do this. These books are too thick to be good reads in a mass market paperback format. This is just a step above mass market. It is a step below trade paperback. It is different size than everything else. And it's still not the best choice. It's better than mass market, admittedly, but it's not as good as trade. I do not know why Tor does this. It's very irritating. And I also wish that they put the series number on the spine. I will give them credit. The series number is listed on the back of the books. There you go. However, they have left off the prequel novel. So, there is that. I'm not going to show you all. I'll show you the boxes. I'm not going to show each book individually. They will undoubtedly not stay in the boxes because I don't like the look of boxes on my bookshelves. I gotta either buy another set of bookshelves or make room. So that is box set number 1. It contains the first 3 books. Box set number 2 is right here. So this is Shadows Rising, Fires of Heaven, excuse me, and Lords of Chaos. So books 4, 5, and 6. Counting is hard, apparently. And then here is box set number 3. Box set number 3. A Crown of Swords, The Path of Daggers, and Winter's Heart. Box set number 4 are books 10, 11, and 12. So, Crossroads of Twilight, Knife of Dreams, and The Gathering Storm. And this is The Gathering Storm is where Brandon Sanderson begins to finish the series. And then box set number 5 is Towers of Midnight, A Memory of Light, and New Spring. New Spring is right here. It is the prequel novel, and it was written by Jordan, not Sanderson. It is by far the skinniest of the books. So, I have read the prequel, and I have read books. I've read at least the first 2 books. I'm trying to think if I've read the third. I think I have. I'm probably going to start fresh. I don't remember them very well. I would like to read them all in order. So I'm going to just start all over. And I hope to get them all read next year. We shall see. Okay, last up is going to be my Christian fiction, and before I do that, I'm also going to include my Year in the Bible journal from Ascension Press. This is exactly that. It is just a journal for one day of the year. It has the readings for that day. It is has the same question every day of the year, which is, what do you see through the lens of Scripture? It has the color-coordinated spine, which I talk about in my video, which I will link down below. And this is 2024 for me. Okay, so Christian fiction, all but one of these were library finds, and the one that isn't flushed out a series. So first up is Sea Rose Lane by Irene Hannon. This is a Hope Harbor novel. I believe this is the second Hope Harbor novel. Again, I wish they would A, list the series, and then B, put them on the spine. I don't understand publishers that don't do that. So I'll read you the back. After a devastating layoff, attorney Eric Nash heads back to Hope Harbor, only to discover that his childhood home is being transformed into a bed and breakfast. Instead of plotting his next career move in peace, he's constantly distracted by noise, chaos, and B.J. Stevens, the attractive but prickly blonde architect who's invaded the house with her motley crew. As for B.J., her client's son might be handsome, but after a disastrous romance, dating isn't on her agenda. Yet when they join forces to help Hope Harbor's older residents, they might also find healing, hope, and a new beginning themselves. So, I'm slowly collecting these. I have a feeling they might start sneaking into my reading next year between big, thick books. But we'll talk about my reading plans later this quarter. Okay, so next up is the Julie Klassen series I picked up, Tales from Ivy Hill. I picked up books 1 and 2 from the library bookshop. And I went ahead and purchased book 3 during Amazon's big deal days. So, the first is The Innkeeper of Ivy Hill. Again, another one that's in perfect condition with just an absolutely gorgeous cover. Like, who wouldn't want to just hang out there? Ugh. So, welcome to the English village of Ivy Hill, where friendships thrive, romance blossoms, and mysteries await. The lifeblood of the village of Ivy Hill is its coaching inn, the Bell. When the innkeeper dies suddenly, his genteel wife, Jane Bell, becomes the reluctant landlady. Jane has no idea how to manage a business, but with the town's livelihood at stake and a large loan due, she must quickly find a way to save the inn. Don't want to read anymore. I'm good. Sign me up. Book 2 in the series is The Ladies of Ivy Cottage. And I will give Bethany House props. On the back of every spine is what number it is in the series and a corresponding picture so that when they're sitting on your bookshelves, all 3 books are similar and you know where you are in the series just by a quick look. So, book 2 is The Ladies of Ivy Cottage. And this one says, return to Ivy Hill as friendships deepen, romances blossom, and mysteries unfold. I love that it's the same tagline, just slightly altered. So, a couple of lines from the back of this one. A gentle woman in reduced circumstances, Miss Rachel Ashford lives as a guest in Ivy Cottage. With her meager funds rapidly depleting, she is determined to earn her own livelihood. Somehow. Her friend Jane Bell and the other village women encourage her to open a circulating library with the many books she's inherited from her father. Okay, I'm good. Sign me up. Seriously, just sign me up. So here's book 3. This is the one I had to pick up from Amazon. This is The Bride of Ivy Green. Again, it has one of those incredibly beautiful covers. Here's some of the back. Come home to Ivy Hill, where friendship endures, romance triumphs, and mysteries are revealed in this eagerly anticipated conclusion. Spring is in the air, and changes too. Mercy Grove has lost her girls' school and is resigned to life as a spinster, especially as the man she admires is out of reach. She contemplates leaving Ivy Cottage to become a governess, a decision with consequences she never imagined. I mean, seriously. They're A, they're beautiful, B, they're well coordinated, and C, I'm so intrigued, I just want to pick them up. So the last physical book on this list is The Lost Heiress by Rosanna M. White. This is book 1 of the Ladies of the Manor series. And it has the series name on the spine, but it does not have the number indicating which one it is. This one is a little beat up, but that's okay. They are listed in the front page of the book. So the other two are The Reluctant Duchess and A Lady Unrivaled. So I will pick those up as I come across them. I'll read you the back. Sweeping romance and mystery in the Edwardian era. Brooke Eden has never known where she truly belongs. When her friend Justin uncovers the fact that she is possibly a missing heiress from Yorkshire, Brooke leaves the sun of the Mediterranean to travel to the moors of the North Sea and the estate of her supposed family. The mystery of her mother's death haunts her, and though her father is quick to accept her, the rest of the family and the servants of Whitby Park are not. Only when Brooke's life is threatened do they draw close. But will their loyalty come too late to save Brooke from the same threat that led to tragedy for her mother? As heir to the dukedom, Justin is no stranger to balancing responsibilities. When the matters of his estate force him far from Brooke, the distance between them reveals that their friendship has grown into something much more. But how can their very different loyalties and responsibilities ever come together? And then, for a second time, the heiress of Whitby Park is stolen away because of the very rare treasure in her possession. And those who can save her still aren't sure whom to trust. Oh, please, please. There's so much I want to read, and there's so much that just screams at me to read. This is one of them. Okay, editing Tammy. I forgot all my digital purchases, and since there were quite a few this month, I thought I would tack these on to the book haul video. So, some of these are Goodreads giveaway wins. Some of these are actual Kindle purchases. If I recall which is which, I will tell you. If you don't recall, assume that it's a Goodreads win. Okay, first up, Goodreads win is the Harbor Lights Mystery. It is the second book in the Shell House Detective series. It is by Amelia Hall. I have not read the first book. I am assuming it is on Kindle Unlimited. In fact, I'm almost positive it is. I will read you the blurb. As the Shell House detectives try to solve a family mystery, their investigation runs dangerously close to a murder case. Are the two linked? It's December in Cornwall, and the Mouse Hole Harbor is illuminated with its famous Christmas lights. Allie Bright is among the crowd, listening to the carol singers, and then the piercing screams that rip through the darkness. A body has been found, brutally murdered, and dumped in a fisherman's boat. Huh? Christmas book? Yeah, okay. I'll read that. Second digital is The Honeymoon Heist by Brad Taylor. And it says, it's a short story, by the way. It's a whopping 111 pages. Between the delectable meals, the gorgeous Mediterranean seaside, and historical sites, Pike and Jennifer are enjoying their time with the Amina in the Italian village of Pistano, grateful for the reprieve from their day jobs, protecting U.S. interests from terrorist threats. But the relaxing vacation runs into trouble when Amina and Pike discover what appears to be a priceless Renaissance painting hidden in a grotto and soon find themselves in the center of a black market scheme. Yeah, I can read that. That works for me. Next up, purchase is The Thousand Names. It is the first book in the Shadow Campaigns series. It is by Django Wexler. I have the second book in the series in hardback on my shelves, but obviously I needed the first book to read the second book. This is Flintlock Fantasy. And there was a very large price difference and availability between the Kindle book and the physical copy. So Kindle it is. Read you a little bit. Set in an alternative 19th century, muskets and magic are weapons to be feared in the first spectacular epic in Django Wexler's Shadow Campaign series. Captain Marcus Davry, commander of one of the Vorna Empire's colonial garrisons, was serving out his days in a sleepy remote outpost until a rebellion left him in charge of a demoralized force clinging to a small fortress at the edge of the desert. To flee from her past, Winter in her glass masqueraded as a man and enlisted as a ranker in the Vornal colonials, hoping only to avoid notice. But when chance sees her promoted to command, she must lead her men into battle against impossible odds. Their fate depends upon Colonel Janus Betvahalanach. Under his command, Marcus and Winter feel the tide turning and their allegiance being tested. For Janus's ambitions extend beyond the battlefield and into the realm of the supernatural, a realm with the power to reshape the known world and change the lives of everyone in its path. This series has been on my radar for a very long time. I am excited. It is sitting there waiting for me to make it a priority and pick it up. So it's sitting there. Next up is the Village Healer's Book of Cures by Jennifer Sherman Roberts. I believe this was a Prime First Reads pickup for the month of October. And it is, I want to say it's historical fiction. It says occult horror, so maybe not historical fiction. I don't normally read horror, so we'll see. In 17th century England, a female healer inflames the fury of a witch finder in this propulsive novel about murder, revenge, and the dangerous power of knowledge. Sounds interesting. The horror tag has me a little confused and concerned, but I'm willing to give it a shot. Next up is The Spy Coast, a thriller. It's Martini Club book number 1 by Tess Garriston. And this too was a Prime First pickup for the month of October. And I will read you the blurb. A retired CIA operative in small-town Maine tackles the ghosts of her past in this fresh take on the spy thriller from New York Times bestselling author Tess Garriston. Former spy Maggie Bird came to the seaside village of Purity, Maine, eager to put the past behind her after a mission went tragically wrong. These days, she's living quietly on her chicken farm, still wary of blowback from the events that forced her into early retirement. But when a body turns up in Maggie's driveway, she knows it's a message from former foes who haven't forgotten her. Maggie turns to her local circle of old friends, all retirees from the CIA, to help uncover the truth about who is trying to kill her and why. This Martini Club of former spies may be retired, but they still have a few useful skills that they're eager to use again, if only to spice up their rather sedate new lives. Yep, that definitely sounds like it's right up my alley. Next up was a Kindle purchase. It is also Flintlock Fantasy. I've heard nothing but great things about this book. And the truth is, I am probably, before the end of the month, purchasing the fourth book, which is also on sale, which means I only have to pick up books 2 and 3. So the first book is Traitor's Blade by Sebastian de Castell. And I will read you a little bit. When every noble is a tyrant and every knight is a thug, the only thing you can really trust is a traitor's blade. The Three Musketeers meets Joe Abercrombie via Mark Lawrence. Guaranteed to increase household swashbuckling by 100%, says the Library Journal. The Greatcoats, legendary heroes, arbiters of justice, or notorious traitors. The Greatcoats are traveling magistrates bringing justice to all. Or at least they were, before they watched the dukes impale their kings head on a spike. Now the land's heroes are reviled as traitors, their greatcoats in tatters. I am very, very interested in this book. Like I said, I am probably picking up the fourth book in the series, which is also on sale this month. And I have a feeling those are books I'm going to devour. The next one is a Goodreads giveaway win. That is Assassins by Mike Bond. And I will read you the blurb. From its riveting start in the night skies of Afghanistan to its stunning end in the recent Paris terrorist attacks, Assassins is an insider story of the last 30 years of war between Islam and the West. A U.S. commando, a French woman doctor, a Russian major, a British female journalist, a top CIA operative, an Afghani woman, and a Taliban warlord fight for their lives and loves in the dangerous streets and lethal deserts of the Middle East. I am very interested in this book. I am very, very interested in this book. Yeah. It's fiction. It is not a true story. This is also a Goodreads giveaway. It is a whopping 67 pages. It is Catholic fiction. It is The Shepherdess, the story of Saint Germain Cousin. The Shepherdess was inspired by the brief life of Saint Germain Cousin of Pibrac as illuminated by Catholic history and tradition. An isolated and abused child stricken with an incurable, disfiguring disease, she became a shepherdess and a radiant model of patience, humility, and faith and fortitude, as well as the patroness of those suffering from abandonment, abuse, disability, or poverty. In a world plagued by the evils of human trafficking, Saint Germain is a serviceable saint for our times. I am very glad that landed in my Kindle inbox. I am looking forward to it. This was also a Kindle or Goodreads giveaway, and that is Under the Dogwood Tree by Carrie Worth. And I will read you the blurb. Ronnie Callahan's rise to police chief is her ultimate achievement. Nothing or no one will ruin that, especially her handsome, down-to-earth ex-husband, Officer Tony Lombardo. She can handle working side by side with him. Outside the station is a different story. Tony certainly isn't making it easy on Ronnie with holiday invitations to his parents' house and spending the night at her apartment. Through a series of unexpected encounters, Ronnie and Tony are forced to come to terms with a tragedy that tore them apart. Just as healing begins after a decade of pain, guilt, and regret, a new man swoops into Ronnie's life. Dr. Aidan Foster is everything Tony isn't. Sophisticated, educated, and wealthy. That's only the beginning. Lurking in the shadows, a stalker's plot for revenge puts Tony and Ronnie in imminent danger that could change their lives forever. Who doesn't love a good thriller? Exactly what this is going to be. It is listed as women's fiction, which is one of those words that, usually makes me cringe. All right. Those are all of my electronic purchases for 2023. And now back to regularly scheduled programming. Leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and I will see you here next time at the Protagonist Pub.